me anyway. And I wish I could have seen his face. I wish I could have seen my friend's face. It was the most precious thing I've ever seen. And that's how God is with us. He's not taking stock of all the bad things you do every day, so the next day he can make bad stuff happen to you in retribution. That's just not how he works. If Jesus died for you 2,000 years ago, he would come and do it again if he could. But he doesn't have to. All you have to do is accept what he already did. And every day, every moment of every day, you're brand new. And gosh, he loves you guys so much individually. And every single one of you, no more than the next. And I need to remember it. I'm saying these things because I need to hear them. And I really don't have anything bigger or more to say than that. And I'll just stand up here like repeating myself. So, gosh, that's all I've got. I really hope that we can take that away with you. I just But we have about 15 minutes, because I think we're going to take like an hour. I was going to see if anybody wanted prayer for anything, or if anybody has questions. I answer them. Questions about this, not questions about a canopy.
I wanted to add something, because I know that there are a couple of questions that people who contemplate these kind of things always ask. And one big one is always, well, then how come bad things happen? Why doesn't God do something? You know, there are people dying in the world with hunger and starvation, right? Why doesn't God do something? Well, here are my thoughts on that. Number one, a lot of the troubles in this world are a result of our choices. This world is the world we've made it, you guys. You know? A lot of bad things entered into the world when we chose to do things our own way. When we chose to step away from the relationship with our Creator and make our own path. Got kind of loaded up with our own sense of pride and self, and we can do it ourselves. We don't need you, and trouble. That's one reason. I want you to imagine a beach, all right? Picture a beach in your mind with beautiful white sand as far as you can see. Now I want you to kneel down in the sand, feel your knees press into that warm sand, the grain of sand pushing against your knees, and then with your little, just with your fingertips, I'm going to pick up one grain of sand. You see it in your hand? Imagine it. You know what that is? That's your life in eternity. That's the 75 or 80 years you'll spend on this planet compared to the beach of eternity. Pretty small, right? God's interested in eternity with you. Not just that. And our lives are all wrapped up in this 75, 85, lucky 95 years. But in the context of forever, these few hardships and difficulties we run into in this little grain of sand are nothing, as the Bible says, to be compared with the joy that awaits us. God doesn't promise to fix everything. God promises to walk with you through everything. Being a Christian is not a cure-all. It's not like, well, you know, I thought, this actually, the guy that wrote the Barbarian Way book that I told you I was reading even said this. He said, you know, some people are so disillusioned with Christianity because they've been given the impression that if they just accept Jesus, their world's going to be good and their life's going to be great. They're going to have a car in the garage. Where did they get that idea? Because too many Christians give them that idea. That if you just do this, your life is great. Or all these little material things like your bank account or your job, they're all going to be fixed. No. They won't be, because God is interested in forever. He's interested in us reflecting His love for the years that we are here and then forever. He's interested in just being in a relationship with us. And good things and bad things are going to happen because that's the imperfect world we live in. Can't stop it. You know, I could be a really good person, and Caitlin could be a nutcase, and she could decide to shoot me out of anger. Now, I'm a good person. I do good things, but I can't control Caitlin. Caitlin has her own free will as well. Caitlin can make her choices as well. That's her privilege. But again, it's still only happening on the little grain. It's not, you know what I'm saying? We have an entire eternity of life ahead of us. Doesn't it make sense to pay much more attention to where you spend all the rest of it than to where you spend this one? Does anyone have a question relating to anything we've said? That's a good idea. I've done that a couple of times, and that's a great idea. Does anyone have a question? Let me answer one more, because I know this is another big one that comes up. Why Jesus? I mean, there are plenty of religious leaders throughout history, right? Very, very, very religious men and great men. Here's why Jesus. So you're listening, put your thinking caps on. This is so important. So important. Number one, Jesus fulfilled every prophecy spoken of the Messiah, written hundreds of years before he was born. He fulfilled all of them. All of them. I believe there are 60-some prophecies concerning who this Messiah would be, where he would be born, how he would be born, how he would die, what he would do, all kinds of stuff. He fulfilled all of them. I believe some scientists did some calculations and said that the odds of him fulfilling 6 of them would be like 1 to the 15 zeros after it. I mean, it gets beyond the realm of possibility. So prophecy alone confirms that he was the one that was prophesied about. The other big one is that he rose from the dead. Now a lot of people are like, well, I don't know about that.
No nursery here.
Well, somebody will say, well, I don't know about that. Well, you guys, 500 people saw him alive after he died. And when he rose again, 500 people were eyewitnesses. Now, let me ask you, if you were brought into court and you had to prove something and you brought in 500 witnesses,